Thank the Speaker. Thank the gentleman from Texas. Mr. Speaker, as we contemplate the tax agreement before us, I urge my colleagues to put politics aside and focus on the facts. We are crawling out of the worst economic downturn in generations. Working families and businesses remain gripped by an economic uncertainty, and to this day, Washington has only made the problem worse. If we want to cut into the 9.8% unemployment rate, Mr. Speaker, we have to instill confidence in the economy and begin to foster an environment for job creation. Today, we take our first step toward achieving that goal. This tax deal is not perfect, and nearly all of us, myself included, disagree with certain elements of this bill. But let us not forget what we're fighting for. The reality is, Mr. Speaker, that on January 1st, one of two things is going to happen to all taxpayers and most small businesses. Their tax rates are either going to go up or they'll stay the same. The choice is to act now or impose the onset of a $3.8 trillion tax increase that will crush the fragile recovery and cost tens of thousands of jobs nationally. This is an indisputable fact and an unacceptable result. Mr. Speaker, this tax increase would punish families and small businesses that cannot afford to pay it. Middle-class families will see their taxes go up by $100 per week. Let me be clear. There's only one path out of this economic crisis, and it's economic growth. But by transferring vast sums of cash out of the private sector and into Washington, Congress would be taking a club to investment, entrepreneurship, and innovation, the very building blocks of what we need to foster economic growth and job creation. About 84% of this package, Mr. Speaker, is either tax relief or extension of current tax rates. So while not perfect, this is the kind of action that most Americans voted for last November. In addition to preserving all marginal tax rates, it would kill the Making Work Pay credit and replace it with a payroll tax credit for all workers. It would deal with the alternative minimum tax that would begin to hit individuals making well below $100,000 and would head off a punishing increase in the death tax. Mr. Speaker, we could try to hold out and pass a different tax bill, but there's no reason to believe that the Senate will pass it or the President would sign it if this fight spills into next year. Meanwhile, Mr. Speaker, the uncertainty associated with a prolonged debate would cause grave economic harm and possibly send us back into a double-dip recession. So with that, Mr. Speaker, I urge my colleagues to pass this current legislation, and I yield back.